You create an atmosphere where people want to work and create. He pulled me up years ago saying, would you stop telling people how I work? Ken Loach, you're revealing all my secrets, Peter. And the more you learn, the more you can move forward. Hey, my name's Peter Mullan, as you can tell from this up there, if you can see it, my name, and I am not Joe Lycett. They just put that there to make it look like they're fucking literate, and they're not. Grew up in Glasgow in an area called Cardonald. But we lived in right at the very edge of that particular area, and we lived in what looked like a posh house. Like we had pillars at the door and stuff. It was rented from ABC Cinemas. So all my schoolmates used to think we were posh, and my mum always went on about and don't ever say anything to disavow them of that. And we didn't have carpets, no fucking electricity, we had fuck all.
I'm there because I couldn't take the knot out of that sentence. I couldn't say 9 simple words. My name is Joe and I'm an alcoholic.
Nobody makes films like him. Nobody. Martin Scorsese said, throw a few names in, Marty said to me, Ken, how's to do it? How's to do it? So Scorsese didn't even know how he did it. I mean, he's the filmmaker's filmmaker because he makes films like nobody else. And the camera's miles away. They don't come in for close-ups. You're stood there going, yeah. Ooh, you're filming, and they are. But you don't believe it. And there's no makeup allowed, no costume allowed. There's none of the usual paraphernalia. And what Ken does that's unique is he does all the work before you even start filming. He's already way ahead of everybody else, as in you attempt to get an improvisatory style. But if you come in and you want a big fuck-off close-up, right? If you want supernaturalistic acting, you don't want the camera there because it's a distraction. Now, you could say it doesn't really matter, and Ken would tell you it does. With Ken, he believes in the invisible camera, so you've never to see that camera in your eye line, and it's always at his height. So it's a human height. It's never up there, it's never down there. Ken's about 5'10" and a half, 5'11". And the camera was always at his eye line if he was sat down or stood up. Now, I've worked with countless directors who saw things like My Name is Joe, and they want that acting style, but without that methodology. Now, Ken would argue you can't get that acting style without that methodology, except he wouldn't argue that because he doesn't want anybody to know what his methodology is. He pulled me up years ago saying, would you stop telling people how I work? Ken Loach, I was like, and he'd have been about fucking 70. And I went, I don't think anybody really is going to be able to steal your fucking ideas because they're unique. And he's like, yeah, but you keep telling everybody how I work, how I do. You're revealing all my secrets, Peter. I'm like, what fucking secrets? You're Ken Loach, for fuck's sake. We need to know how you achieve it. Well, when you used to shoot on film, big reels of fucking film, you would normally work on, usually in a feature film, if you're lucky, you would get like a 10-to-1 ratio, right? For the boys and girls at home, you get 10 tries at each shot, and then you have to accept one of them and move on to the next one. Or you've got 20 tries for 2 goes. You do one in one go, and the others you do 19. You can divvy it up any way you want, but that's your ratio, roughly 10-to-1. And when I did the Magdalene Sisters, I worked on a 2-to-1 ratio. So I only got 1 or 2 takes, that was it. Ken is 49-to-1, sometimes 72-to-1. So you're looking at 49 fucking times. Now, he pre-plans that, so you lose. So it's not like you, Jack, the filmmaker, can say, I'd like a Ken Loach 49-to-1 ratio, please. Because they say to you, well, that's fine, but we'll give you it. You're not going to get any supporting artists, you're not going to get this, you're not going to get that, change that location, it's not going to happen. So you pay a price for that, and Ken factors all that in. So every time you act in a Ken scene, you get 49 fucking goes. So I'll give you an example of what he gets in having that ratio. So you're doing a scene, if I'm doing a scene with someone, and it's a love scene, say, and we're in a restaurant. So I'm sat with my girlfriend, and I've decided I'm going to ask her to marry me. And then we'll improvise. We'll see how the scene develops, right? But that's what's to happen in the scene. Her and I are sat there, and I say, 2 coffees, please. Yappy, scripted, yappy. And I say to her, let's get married. And she goes, it's sooner than I'd expected. I'm hurt. She goes, fuck it, let's do it. Let's just say that's the scene. After about 10 takes of that, we're getting good. You know what I mean? We're good. Fucking picking each other's cues. We're good. We've got a nice scene, beautifully acted. Come about take 11. Ken has gone away and said to the wee guy serving you the coffee, look, I've noticed you don't ask them what kind of milk they want. Is it oat milk? Is it whole milk? Is it semi-skimmed milk? Oh, I just thought I was to offer my coffee. This guy's never acted before in his life. Well, I just thought I was to ask them what they wanted. Yeah, but you're a waiter. Just ask them what you would normally ask them. But they're doing this lovely, yeah, don't worry about them, I'm the director. Like, that guy will come up, take 11, and you're in the middle. But now you've got this beautiful scene going. I'm going, I think we should get married. She's going, oh, I don't know, it's a bit soon. Right? I'm just about to go, I think we should get married. And by this time, I'm so smooth. I'm thinking of prizes. I'm thinking I'm going to win every fucking award going for this. Guy comes along. Guy says, sorry, is that oat milk or is that semi-skimmed or is it whole milk? Whole milk, please. All right, fine. And you, madam? Oh, yeah, I'll have oat milk. Right? Suddenly, all this lovely fucking cool stuff is out the fucking window. It's gone. So I need to recharge. I need to go, all right, so how am I going to ask her to fucking marry me? I don't know how I'm going to do it. Any more than you would in life. So now I'm going to go, well, thanks for that. I think we should get married. Now, I've never said it that way before, ever. I've done all that. I think we should get married. No, I mean, it's not shite, but it's nowhere near as fucking interesting as it's now become, right? Once we get that down, because coming up and asking if you want fucking sugar, if you want it fucking cappuccino, frappuccino, the real world is put right between you and your smart ass acting, right? Ken tries to make your reality the reality.
Baby, all right, big man. Hey, look at that. Is he beautiful? Is he fucking beautiful?
Couple of 50s for joins.
Orphans is 4 short stories strung together. My mum had died a few years previous and stuff. It was personal and all that. But I'd had a fair bit of success with the short films. And in those days, you did short films and then guys like Channel 4 came along and they would give you money to make a feature. It's not as simple as that now. I mean, David Mackenzie did the same route, Lynn Ramsey. We all did exactly the same thing. We made short films. We all came from completely different backgrounds. Lynn was film school. David was very well off and made films at his father's finance. And I came through acting. So we came from completely different disciplines.
It's a grievous sin you have committed.
No, please stop.
Get dressed. Hurry up.
Where's Margaret going?
Magdalene was the most obviously political of the 3 films that I've made. My mother worked in Nazareth House as a nurse. We had kids in our school we called them Nazi kids because they were at Nazareth House. And they had a different uniform from us, which I always, even as a kid, I thought that doesn't seem right to me. So you knew that we called them, orphan kids. In truth, Nazareth House kids had come from broken homes and grinding poverty. They weren't actually orphans. Somewhere. I remember this kid showing us his back. We were talking about the nuns. And he said the nuns were cruel to him. And he took his shirt off and his back was ripped to shreds. And we didn't believe him. Because nuns don't do that. But I remember I didn't stick up for him either. So all the other kids really went for him as being super evil. Because the thing that a lot of non-Catholics don't understand, and obviously, understandably, why should you? Within the Catholic faith, particularly at that time, a priest, a nun, a representative of Christ on earth could do no wrong. When I went to America with Magdalene, we had this huge big thing in the Lincoln Center. And we had a big question answer afterwards. And virtually nobody left. They all hung about for the question and answer. And all these New York lawyers talked about why didn't these young girls go to the police? Why didn't they go to the law? And what they didn't understand, and again, why should they? And I had to explain to them, a priest owns your soul. With them not understanding that, I could take that all the way back to when I was a kid and looking at that other kid who I had neither good or bad feelings for. But I remember the scars and only the scars. But I also remember his pleas to be believed, and we didn't believe him. And that, when I saw the documentary, I was sat in the kitchen and I heard a girl say on the telly, she said, they said I was too good looking and they locked me up. So I watched the rest of the documentary, and it was about the Magdalene laundries. And they'd locked her up for being too good looking because they suspected that even though she hadn't committed any crime, they suspected she would be ultimately promiscuous. And the next morning I wrote the structure for Magdalene. And the structure was dead simple. It was 3 girls from 3 different parts of Ireland go to prison, the Magdalene laundries. They meet a 4th girl. In my head, it was the 4 Musketeers in terms of the structure. They meet a 4th girl, and then we see what the Magdalenes are about, and then 4 become 3, 3 become 2, and 2 escape. And that was literally the structure, and I wrote that in about an hour. We'd already won a lot of awards at Venice and Critics Week, but Magdalene got a straight knock back for Cannes, and it got into Venice. What I was chuffed at was it got into Venice competition. So it wasn't Critics Week. So as far as I was concerned, that in itself was a victory. And our Italian distributor was over the moon because we were in with the big boys. I thought we could pick up something, but I wasn't expecting the Leon d'Or. So it was huge. It was massive. But then, get this for irony, because it won the Leon d'Or, there was a certain company called Miramax who hadn't picked it up for America. There was a certain guy, a guy who loves women so much, Harvey fucking Weinstein, that raping cunt. He bought it for 600 grand. And I was fucking raging. It was like, well, you've sold my film to Harvey fucking Weinstein, a film about the oppression of women in Ireland. But Weinstein at that time, even though when I got to meet him and got to know him, I didn't know anything about what he'd really gotten up to. I only knew what he did to people's films. And I told him in no uncertain terms, you touch one frame of my film and I'll stab you in the heart. And he laughed and went, fuck, I think you mean it. And I was like, you've no fucking idea how much I will stab you. I've spent 5 years of my fucking life on this. If you think for a fucking heartbeat that you can change a single frame of my fucking film, I'll do you in. And he loved all that shit.
Here, get the fuck away from her! Don't even fucking think about coming after us!
The main thing around actors is getting them to relax. Don't put too much of this in their fucking face, really. Just keep it nice and relaxed. Let people make mistakes. Let people bring what they want to bring to the table. Like, if you've got a line that really means something, right, if the kid or the actor says it differently, would you rather it was said in a manner that was moving and authentic, or would you rather it was line perfect? Me, I'd rather the former.
Come here in a minute. I just want to talk to you, pal. Fucking
There was a scene in Ned's with Connor who was so extraordinary. He was only 16, never acted before in his life, and I'd written it that he would cry. His father says, finish me. And the weight of this insanity is such that he cries. So in the script, it read well that he suddenly starts crying because it's all too insane. So we came to do the scene, and Connor revealed to me, he says, I can't cry. I tried it last night, I've tried it. And he worked himself up, and I went, well, keep working yourself up, and trust me, you'll cry. And he was like, no, it's not going to happen. So I changed the scene. So I cried, and it worked.
Cover your ears.
So my character was the father, who's a monster, and he cried. But he doesn't cry, but he's on the verge of crying.
Finish me.
Fuck it. If your actor can't do something, then think on your feet. You know, and I think that's a really important part of filmmaking, is thinking on your feet. The phrase I've borrowed heavily is from Dennis Potter, when he talked about his work as being personal, not autobiographical. Ned's was personal, not autobiographical. I mean, in the film, the boy brain damages another kid. You know, I never did anything even approaching that. Borrowed stuff from stuff I'd heard, stuff I'd just made up. But where it was personal was I had, as a tourist, I'd had some experience of the gangs. But, I mean, we were a shite gang. There was only like 12 of us. We were fucking rotten. My brother was more heavily involved in the real stuff. It was very violent, obviously, and I thought the violence was quite good fun at the time. You know, you're a young 14-year-old and you're angry. You know, you're very dangerous, you know, to yourself and others.
Did you saw that?
Penny did.
Penny did.
Bring him up here, I'll kick his fucking head in.
You fucking what?
He's alright. Stays 2 doors up for me, know what I mean?
Is he fuck me? You fucking what?
Comes out here, I'll kick his head in, mate. Put your money on it.
Kick whose fucking head in? I fucking decides what happens, and if I fucking want him up here, he's up here.
Mate, I'll kick
Fucking,
his head in.
you fucking need to go through me first, then, you fucking dick.
No, mate. Me and your mates, fuck's sake, it's him, mate.
But you see these kids and you see it in their eyes. Every time I see those mug shots, I know what's going on. And years later, I worked with murderers in the Berlin prison. And you see it in the eyes. They've grown out of it. They know the consequence. They're sat in a cell fucking 6 foot by 8 foot. It ain't fucking glamorous. But you can't tell that to a 14-year-old. A 14-year-old thinks everybody in the street's talking about them. That's where your brain goes. That's how crazy you can become. And there's no drug. The only drug involved is pure fucking testosterone. And that is fucking dangerous. Because you're cutting around thinking the whole world is talking about you. Of course, it's a nonsense. Well, that's what Ned's was trying to look at. Was trying to look at, not with a view to having any answers to it, but with a view towards wanting to look at what I found my generation had begun to start saying around me, that we never did that when we were that age. And it's like, no, we most certainly did. And it had to be looked at. It has to be looked at. Braveheart, I remember my biggest lesson in Braveheart is that an £80 million fucking film, you have to make do with what's actually fucking there. We had a horse in Braveheart insured for fucking £3.5 million. Big, handsome black stallion, man. Fucking thought it was it. And it was. It was getting better paid than any of us. And this fucking thing couldn't hit a mark. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know what I mean? God forgot to tell horses to hit fucking marks. Do you know what I mean? It's got a brain the size of a walnut. And people are going, it won't hit the mark. It's a fucking horse, you lunatics. But it never hit the mark. Mel's going, you know, you told me it would hit the mark. And the wee guy that owned it's going, oh, no, my fucking fault. I mean, you're talking to it wrong. In film sets, everybody's got an excuse for fucking everything. Guess what the solution was? They got themselves a stuntman and they cut some mane off the horse's tail, the real horse. Right? Mr. £5 million fucking horse got half his fucking tail cut off because he wasn't hitting the fucking mark. So he gets half his tail fucking shorn off him. They give it to the stuntman. He puts the actor on his shoulders and the stuntman runs around going, yeah, yeah. And he had to put just enough of the mane at the bottom of the frame so it looked like the neck thing of the horse.
Would you like me to pray for you, Robert?
The fascinating thing with Dog Altogether was Paddy had made it, and then I think he sent me the script first. He might have sent me a text saying, I want to develop this into a feature.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! What the fuck are you laughing at?
No, mate. It's a private joke.
You ain't share it?
So anyway, he sent me the script, and what blew me away about the script was the first 15 pages was the short film. Like, it hadn't changed at all. Then he did this fucking genius thing in the rest of the script. It wasn't a big script. But he literally just racked to focus. And what he did was what became a perfectly okay short film about this crazy guy. He suddenly introduces the woman, as in her background, and this monster that she's living with, and what she's coping with, and the toll it's taking on her, and her faith. Then it turns into this bizarre kind of love story of sorts. And then this biblical kind of denouement where this guy just starts chopping up everything. And then she ends up in prison. And he ends up going to visit her. And on the day I arrived, and they gave me this fucking Doug's head, this Doug's head covered in blood and a machete. And I was sat in a fucking chair in a garden with a Doug's head and a machete. And we're supposed to believe any cunt's going to take him on. So Paddy was like, what do you think? I said, well, the fight's gone. But we need to fight. He's going to attack you. Who the fuck's going to attack me? I have a Doug's head and a machete. Are you going to take him on? I fucking wouldn't. You know, and he's like, and Paddy's a great director. Paddy went, fuck, no, you're right. You're right. No. So he turned to the stunt guy and went, now you can, off you go. Where Paddy's genius, I think, lies as a director, as he does as an actor, is he improvises. And I think the best directors improvise.
You fucking cunt! I'll fucking kill you! I'm gonna fucking kill you! I'm gonna fucking kill you! You sick fucker!
There's a scene Olivia does. And Olivia wasn't well known at that time as a straight actress. She was known as a comedic actress. There's an amazing scene. Olivia tells my guy, once he's found her husband dead, and Olivia tells him what he'd been doing to her. Now, the first time Olivia did it was fucking absolutely heartbreaking.
What's wrong?
And he says, what did you think? I said, Jesus Christ, blew me away. It was extraordinary. And he went, yeah. Anything else? I mean, anything else we could do? You could try an angry version. What do you mean? Well, you could try a version where she's not. The version that we got was achingly vulnerable. You could try a version where she's basically looking at him saying, don't you fucking judge me. So you've got a fury at her situation.
What are you looking at? Who the fuck are you to judge me? You know nothing about me. You don't know what that bastard did to me.
Olivia, being a great actress, went, bing, yeah, I can give you that vulnerability with a fucking edge. So we do that version, and it was, I mean, I think that's mainly the version Paddy uses. On take 3, I said, well, what if at the end she asked for a hug? And he's like, why would she ask for a hug? I said, well, why not? You know, and we did the third version. But the third version, at the end of it, she goes, can I have a hug? And you cut back to this guy going, this guy's just frozen. He's like a lump of stone.
Will you help me, please? No one. Please, Heavenly Father, help me.
The whole point of that being directors should listen as well as fucking direct. But playing Shankly with the community is why I did it. I did it because it was meant to be a passion play with the community of Liverpool. And instead of, I studied a lot of medieval theatre at university. So instead of the Christ being the passion, Instead of that being at the centre, you put a football manager at the centre, Bill Shankly. And I've always read a lot of football biographies and about managers and footballers. I've written 2 episodes about the early years of Alex Ferguson, you know, so I've always been fascinated by that world, because I think that world is where you can see the working class in its most passionate state. The definitive football book / movie has never been written, and I think it might never be written, because football's a very personal thing. When you read about United, you know, when they have that generic Rovers or United, you don't give a fuck. Not really. You're not really. You care more about Quidditch than you would about fucking your football. I mean, I've met a lot of Everton fans who've come to see this, and they're all very kind and all very, you know, but the truth is they love seeing the moments in the play where Everton fuck Liverpool. They'll not say it, but I hear it. You feel it, you know, and that's what I love about it. You can't think about playing an icon. You're just playing a guy. He's a guy. You know, he's a character. If you start thinking about being an icon, then you're going to get a bit up yourself, and it's not going to be useful. I've loved it. I've had a great time. Scared me witless at times. I was 2 months learning the lines, doing the voice, then a 3rd month doing the lines and the voice. Then we started rehearsal. The theatre takes its toll on you financially. I mean, it really does. You can't live off it. It's impossible. Unless you're in the young team and you don't have any outgoings. And good luck to you there. The worst thing about being a director is you're called a fucking director. That's the worst thing about it. Because some pricks think, oh, I need to direct. Right, you, stand there. Right, you. Really, you should be more like a facilitator. You should create an atmosphere where people want to work and create. And you get the ultimate say. You've got to know your Shakespeare. You've got to know your Brecht. You've got to know your Chekhov. And the reason why you've got to is that they covered all that ground before you did, and you can learn from that. And the more you learn, the more you can move forward. If you choose to ignore them, then what you're doing is you're saying to the fascists, come on, I'm wide open. I'll take whatever piece of shite fucking philosophy you've got to give me. So education in that respect's really vital. Don't be too downhearted about the lack of fucking money. Make it. Make your films. Do your actimifying. Get on a little stage in a community centre, a pub, a bar, the playground, a train station. Get up there, make a prick of yourself and do it. It really is. Now, that's not to say it's also in conjunction with that, is watch as many films as you can, learn. But more importantly is do it.